first year here, I basically only wanted gong pao ji ding. It's like super spicy, which not so spicy would be 没有那么辣. And then, okay, easy. So I went back like the next day and I said like, 跟昨天一样，但是没有那么辣. And then they thought that I meant that yesterday it was not that spicy. So then the result was that I got like extra spicy gong pao ji ding. Almost killed me that first semester.
Hello everyone, welcome to our show today. My name is John Drummond or Yang Haoen.
Hello, 大家好，欢迎各位再度来到 NG 英文，我是 Angela.
We have a great episode for you today with my good friend Lukas Engstrom, who is known around the Taiwanese and YouTube community as Lukas.
对呀，今天我们再度邀请到了一位来自北欧的来宾卢卡斯 Lukas 到 NG 英文跟大家做分享。
My guest today is Swedish, but has been living in Taiwan for quite some time now. He is a YouTuber, content creator at Moshi Cafe, video editing lover, and so much more. So everyone, please welcome my good friend Lukas.
Hello.
I'm a high fiver.
Oh, high five. Nice.
What's up, my bro?
Oh, good. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, man. Dude, you know, I wish we could have recorded us chatting off air right there.
Right, I feel like we already made this episode.
Man,
already.
dude, it's so great to kind of hear about more of your life and all the fun projects you're working on here in Taiwan and really the world. But I would love if you could kind of introduce yourself. Who is the man, the myth, the legend?
Sure. My name is Lukas, originally from Sweden. I have spent the last 9 years here in Taiwan. Came here by accident pretty much, or my Swedish school decided that I should go to Taiwan, check it out, which was in hindsight a great decision. But I actually didn't really have any interest in coming to Taiwan, so the love for Taiwan has kind of grown with my experiences here. Now would say mostly famous for my YouTube channel, I hope, which is also like the biggest part of my life right now.
Yeah, nice introduction there. And I think it's so true for so many foreigners here is we come for one reason or another, and then next thing you know, we've been here for 10 years.
Exactly. I think Taiwan is like very special like that. Yeah. And I know that you have also had some great experience of traveling around in Asia, and other Asian countries are normally like the typical like tourist destination for foreigners. But I think that all the foreigners who actually do come and visit Taiwan, I think they end up staying here much longer than other Asian countries, I think.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, you're right. Kind of that typical tourist destination for backpacking or one reason or another. But,
right. But I feel like once you have actually come to Taiwan, and if you do pass that 1 month here in Taiwan, it's very, very easy to just like add another year to that 1 month.
That's so interesting. The 1 month, yeah, like
I think so. But you do actually have to be here for 1 month in order to actually realize how amazing Taiwan is, and especially for me as a kind of convenient lifestyle Swede, Taiwan is amazing and just like the perfect amount of like Western convenience versus Eastern like excitement, I think.
Yeah, well said. And yes, you are a famous YouTuber, you handsome devil.
I wouldn't say famous. I think that if you have passed the famous 100K, you can at least call yourself a YouTuber, but maybe not famous yet.
Well, you are very humble as well. I would love to kind of dive into some of the YouTube stuff that you are working on. So what actually got you started? I know your YouTube journey a little bit, but if you could briefly sum up, what got you started as a YouTuber here in Taiwan?
The shortest version, I'm not going to say short version, but the shortest version is that I actually wanted to leave Taiwan as much as I just said that I love living here in Taiwan now. 3 years ago, when I started making my YouTube videos, I was in a mindset of I was done with Taiwan, because Taiwan, as I knew it back then, I was done with it. I had already done everything you could do. And when I say Taiwan, at that point, I'm talking about anything between Danshui and Xindian up in Taipei. That was my Taiwan back then. So I had already decided I'm going to move back home to Sweden. But there was actually a few places in Taiwan I knew that I was going to miss, which was Teapot Mountain and the beach down in Kenting. So I just bought like a GoPro Hero 6, I think was the name. Just a very small action camera to record those journeys to Teapot Mountain and down to Kenting. So I would have that memory with me back home in Sweden. And after that, for some reason, I posted it on my YouTube so my friends back home could see as well. And then before I knew it, I had 30,000 views, and which is like 30,000 more people than I have friends. So I was very surprised, and that just like got me interested in making more videos. And I just told myself that I'm gonna continue making videos for as long as I think it's fun and I have a great time doing it. And now it's been 3 years with at least one video every single week for 3 years.
Yeah. And I love how organically that happened. You know, you wanted to hold on to some memories, bring them back home and kind of rewatch them. And yeah, you were telling me, you know, the first video was like, hey everyone, I'm Lucas. I'm going to go take bus 232, you know, and it's so pure and it's so real. And I think that's what, you know, maybe the Taiwanese audience loved. They were just like, what do foreigners do here? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like, at least during this journey now, as I've been talking to, most of my audience is actually Taiwanese, and they love to see Taiwan through a foreigner's eyes. Because it's the same with me in Sweden. I'm sure there's amazing things in Sweden, which me as a Swede just think is like the most boring thing ever. Like, you know, I had some Taiwanese people, we went going to Japan together, and they were 25 years old and they saw snow for the first time. And me growing up in Sweden, who was just annoyed by snow, like covering our cars every winter, like it was just like they saw Santa Claus for the first time, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's how I am in Taiwan too. I go to a night market and I see fried sweet potato balls for the first time. And I'm like, wow, what is this? Oh my God, this is so delicious. And then you have like some Taiwanese people who just be like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. Seeing your home country through the lens of a traveler is a beautiful perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel the same way from California. And I'm like,
California's amazing.
It's amazing, but I left it. I was sick of it.
Yeah.
And like everyone is like, why did you leave California?
Exactly.
And it's like, well, sometimes like you need, you know, you just, the world is that, you know? And so I love that, you found your passion in YouTubing now because,
absolutely, yeah.
you know, I know how much you are a lover of the tech side of YouTubing and video editing and, you know, the post-production of it all.
Yeah.
What cameras you're using and what mics. And I love it. You came here and you're like, what mics are you using? And I'm like, perfect question.
You just need to check. Yeah. It's
yeah.
Because I mean, you're the most professional actual like creator that I met, so it's like I'm also very, very inspired to see you, and just talking to you before this is just
nice. Well,
really like opens up the world for me for my next step in my so-called career too.
Yeah, and I would love to actually share a little bit about kind of what is the future for Lucas as a human and as a YouTuber.
Oh, as a human too.
Well, you know, you might be growing another leg. I don't know what's going on over here.
I do hope that I can take my so-called YouTube career to make it a little bit more professional, both for my own sake, because I really do love to actually develop my own skills, and then also like all the gear that I'm using. And I started off with like vlogging, and I feel like sometimes some viewers aren't really knowing the difference between vlogging or like creating content. They kind of just like mix those up.
Right.
So every time I'm getting called like a vlogger, I'm kind of like it. I'm not really taking it as an insult, but I don't want to get seen as a vlogger.
Interesting.
Because to me, a vlogger is just like, you know, I have an iPhone and anyone can become a vlogger, but I want to like get out from that, and I don't want to be the foreign YouTuber. I want to be like the professional content creator of some sort, and then I just happen to be a foreigner as well.
Yeah, and I think you're also doing some incredible things with a cafe, creating kind of like a collective creative content space. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're trying to make this happen. It's Moshi Cafe in Zhongshan, where first of all, the cafe itself is just amazing, and then we've had this opportunity to actually create a live stream room on the second floor. So we have this little studio, very similar to the one we have here, but then we actually have one glass window, so the cafe guests can actually see us being in the studio creating the content. And of course, we want other people to actually come and use the space as well. So it's literally like a meeting hub and a spot for, as a creator myself, and I've been spending hours in cafes and coffee shops editing. So the plan is kind of like, if you're going to go to a coffee shop and edit, you might as well go to a coffee shop and actually create the content as well. So it's through the whole process.
I love that. I think it's a beautiful idea. And, just getting creatives around each other also, I'm just picturing just such stimulating dialogues and just allowing people having a coffee or editing to check out like, look at John and Lucas recording that show over there. Like,
are you inviting yourself over to the Moshi Cafe now?
Wait a second. Did I just do that?
Now I Now I kind of have to invite you to our next episode.
You know that meme?
You're more than welcome, of course.
No. But thank you. I do want to come check it out because I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that you have a hand in. And I wish you nothing but success with whatever path you take. And just getting to know you a little bit more today, I see wherever you're going to go is going to be great. you have a beautiful mind and a lot of... Okay, shut up, John. I'm just blah, blah, blah at you. But I love what you're doing, man, and wish you nothing but success.
如果你刚好是 Lukas 的粉丝，平常就有在 follow 他的消息，看他的影片的话呢，应该就都知道卢卡斯他来台湾已经有很长一段时间了。虽然原先一开始会来当交换学生1年，基本上算是一个意外啦齁，但是现在事后看来呢，当年真的是来对了。因为交换学生的计划结束，回去瑞典之后啊，他实在是很念念不忘我们台湾，所以就又搬回来住。结果呢，一住就是9年10年，每年都是越来越爱我们台湾。这边有个蛮有意思的片语，我们来学一下。刚才 Lukas 说，对于来台湾这个决定呢，是 in hindsight a great decision。好 ，in hindsight 它意思是事后看来。所以他表达就是说，当初来台湾的这个决定呢，现在事后看来真的是很不错，幸好有来这样子。像例如可能有一件案子花了警察很长一段时间才找到线索破案，但是 in hindsight 在事后看来呢，很多线索其实一直都在眼前，只是没有被发现。另外一个是 John 提到的 one reason or another， 这是在表达种种原因。像刚刚他说 foreigners come for one reason or another， 意思就是说外国人呢基于种种原因纷纷来到亚洲，来到台湾。好，可能是为了旅游啦，可能是为了工作，或者是为了家人，为了配偶等等。但是要注意哦，如果用跟他长得很像的这个 for some reason， 那意思就完全不一样，因为它带有一种没有人知道为什么的意涵在。如果把刚才这样那句改成 foreigners come here for some reason， 那意思就会变成是外国人基于某种莫名的原因，好，或是不知道为什么要来台湾，来亚洲。有没有？是不是两种意思变得很不一样？再来，他提到说，其实之前本来已经打算要回瑞典了，那时候因为想说要走了，不然买个 GoPro 来拍影片记录自己在这边临走前的生活好了。结果没想到呢，竟然得到超多台湾人的关注，索性就接下这个拍影片的重责大任。好了，没有啦，就是想说既然大家喜欢看的话，那就继续拍好了，反正自己也是蛮喜欢拍片剪片的。但任谁也没有想到，这样子一拍呢，就又让他在台湾多待了好几年。那也是因为陆陆续续累积起来的影片制作经验和兴趣，让他希望在未来呢，可以继续朝这方面去更专业的发展。虽然说这只是未来的一个计划，但是千里之行始于足下嘛，对不对？他现在其实已经有开始在慢慢扩展版图，跟台北中山的一间咖啡厅合作，在他们的2楼呢弄了一个录音室。这里有一个片语，我们听一下 For someone's sake，他有为了某人着想，看在某人份上的意思。像刚才来宾说他想要把 YouTube 影片做得更好更专业 for my own sake， 好，就是说当是为了自己看在自己的份上，要把影片做得更好更专业。或者这个片语 for someone's sake 也可以说成 for the sake of someone。 例如像说你看有一些爸妈虽然处不来，但是为了孩子呢 for the sake of the children而选择不分开。 好，那除了人以外呢，我们也可以改成 for something's sake or for the sake of something， 表达出为了什么什么什么，因为怎样怎样怎样。好，比方说像这一句，他只是为了吵架而吵架， He's only arguing for the sake of arguing。 另外，如果你常看电影、看电视影集的话呢，可能对等一下这些说法应该都蛮熟悉的。例如 for heaven's sake, for God's sake, for goodness sake。 好，这些所传达出来的意思就是看在老天的份上，拜托你行行好，好不好？好啦，那这段内容就先在这里告一段落，我们赶快继续听下半段的分享。
But if you don't mind, can we kind of switch gears a little bit?
Sure.
I wanted to share a little bit about your language journey. You grew up in Sweden, where obviously you spoke Swedish, and probably English was maybe the first language you were exposed to. And then maybe you can share about how you came to Taiwan and when Chinese came into play.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, every Swedish student at the year of, well, when you're 7 years old, I think, you start to speak, well, you try to learn English. But then like the motivation is just like so low and you don't have like any reason or purpose to speak English. So even though you spend like 2-3 hours every single week for like 10 years, then you don't care.
You're like, why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like all your teachers are Swedish people. And it's like in the lower grades, you have the same teacher in like Swedish and English and like history. So obviously you know that it's a Swedish teacher, right? And I'm like, why do you insist that I speak English to you? It's so stupid. And the same with like Spanish in my case. But then actually, as I grew older, I had this dream kind of to leave Sweden. I had this weird mindset that I come up from the countryside, and then I had this weird mindset that the further away from home you get, the more successful you will be. For me, like growing up on the Swedish countryside, it was always like, if I get a job in the big city, then I made it. And then the next step was like, if I get a job in the capital, Stockholm, I made it. And then at one point, I had this concept that if I get a job outside of Sweden, mind blown. Like, I cannot wish for anything more. So but that was very late. That was like during like university years. And that's when I realized that, you know what, maybe English could be good to have. And actually, I said that I was an exchange student here in Taiwan, but before that, I was an exchange student in the US as well.
Shout out to Alaska.
Fairbanks, Alaska. Not my best 6 months, but it was actually the best 6 months for my English skills, because I was put in a situation and a country where I all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, had to know English to literally survive.
Yeah.
So that was like tremendous, and it was great for my English level. My only motivation was to get as far away from Sweden as possible. So I literally took a ruler and I got a list of all the schools that my grades would like make me able to go to. I literally took a ruler and I saw which school is the furthest away from Sweden.
Wow.
So then
that's how you found Alaska.
That's how I found Alaska. So then for the first year, and I always wanted to go to the US as well. That was also like one of these dreams. If you grew up in Sweden, it's like, yeah, you should go and check it out at least.
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know what? I want to go to the US and I want to go to Asia. So then the next semester, I took the same ruler, probably a different ruler, but you get my point. And then I was like, I've already been to the West. How far can we go to the East? And then, you know, you have like Indonesia, you had India too, you had mainland China, and then there was like, oh, well, what is this? Well, Taiwan is a little bit further than Hong Kong. Okay, well, I mean, it's probably the same thing anyway at that point.
Right.
But Taiwan is a little bit further away, so it must be better. And that was pretty much how I got here in the first place. And then 9 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and I love that. You know, you actually pulled out the ruler on a map, and you were like, "What is the furthest away I can get to?"
Yeah.
And I think also what you touched on right there too is growing up speaking English, being like, "Why do I need this? I'm speaking to my Swedish teacher, who I know is Swedish, speaking Swedish, but I have to speak English." It's such a disconnect.
Exactly.
And I'm so happy that you found that kind of aha moment where you were like, oh, I can use this for something else, you know?
Yeah, and like the only thing really, there was like, I remember I was in 9th grade, and then one of my classmates had these like torrent sites, like illegally downloading.
Oh man, like LimeWire. And
exactly,
like
LimeWire, uTorrent, and then like I of course did not do such criminal activity.
Noted.
But some of my friends did, and then you can get the newest movies,
Right.
but not Swedish subtitles.
Right.
And that was actually the greatest motivation we had to learn English, so you can actually understand Lion King 3 or whatever movie it was at that time.
So funny because I think Martin also said, your fellow Swedish brother said the same thing. He was like, I just wanted to watch movies, you know?
Exactly.
But I had to learn because they wouldn't dub them until much later.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So thinking then about your Chinese. So when you got here, how did your Chinese develop? Rather than necessarily the story, maybe you could take us through kind of the brief story, but what really helped solidify your knowledge for Chinese and realizing you could use it more?
First of all, I just want to say that I actually hate studying Chinese, and I hate studying all languages. Every time
You're creative. That makes sense.
Every time I say that I studied both Spanish and German in school, people always put you this like, oh, you're a language guy. It's so easy. Everything is so easy for you.
I did that to him. I'm sorry.
I even English and even Swedish, I just hate studying languages.
Yeah.
But there's always a but. When I did come here to Taiwan, it was the easiest way to, because I already graduated back home in Sweden at that time. So when I did come here to Taiwan, taking Chinese classes at Shida was the easiest way for me to be here in Taiwan and not having to work and just enjoying this beautiful paradise, literally, that Taiwan is. And that was also a way for me to get the Swedish scholarship. Because as a Swedish student, school is free, even if you happen to study in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So I had the Swedish government paying for Chinese classes here in Taiwan. And that actually motivated me because I had to keep my grades to get the money from the government. So it's like, it's the worst reason to study a language, I think.
It's an honest reason.
But it's an honest reason.
You were mentioning you have quite a fun little story about trying to order some Kung Pao chicken. You want to...
Okay, this was one of the biggest mistakes I made in Chinese. Was my first year here, I basically only wanted Kung Pao Jiding, which is just like plain chicken. I'm not a big fan of the Taiwanese food, at least not when I first came here. So chicken and peanuts. There was an amazing dish from one of the Rötchaus. And then I just asked my friend, like, what is this? Chicken and peanuts. And then, Gong Pao Jiding. And then I ordered it in a restaurant. It was like the only thing I could say my first 6 months here, by the way. And it turns out that it was like chili. It was like super spicy, which no one told me. So I went back like the next day and I said like, and I talked to my friend and it's like, how should I say if I don't want it that spicy? And he was like, well, when you order, you say, Gong Pao Ji Ding, and then not so spicy would be 没有那么辣. And then, okay, easy. And then the next day I go back, and then for some reason I just forgot what Gong Pao Ji Ding was. So, but I still remember I could say 跟昨天一样, same as yesterday. So I said like, oh, 跟昨天一样, 但是没有那么辣. And then they thought that I meant that yesterday it was not that spicy. So then the result was that I got like extra spicy Gong Pao Ji Ding, which if you don't want any spice at all, is like incredibly spicy. Almost killed me that first semester at Suda, yeah.
Oh man, I love that. Yeah, you got the whole phrase ready, but then you forgot how to actually say the dish. Great stuff. Awesome, Lukas. Well, it's been a pleasure, man. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show here, and a question I'd love to end on the show here is if you could go back in time and give yourself some advice about entertainment, business, language, life, anything, what would it be?
I think it would be that you actually don't need to have a proper job in the sense of what, the past generation, your parents or your teachers have told you that a job is. For example, like with YouTube, like when I realized that my hobby that I just love to do, like I did YouTube videos for free for like 1 or 2 years. Once you realize that you can actually make money out of your hobby, the things that you like to do, that's a life-changing thing. So I wish I knew that much sooner so I could actually have that mindset growing up.
Yeah.
And then that would have put me like 10 years ahead of where I am right now.
Well, I think it's beautiful advice to anyone listening now, and you're living it now. So You found your way. Awesome, brother. Well, where can people find your YouTube channels, your social media?
My YouTube channel, Lukas Engstrom. If you search Lukas Taiwan, I should pop up there, I think. Instagram as well. Yeah, or Chinese is Lukas, which is also very, very straightforward.
Yeah, love that.
That's how creative I am.
Hey, my friend Martin is Ma Ding. It's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, Yang Haoen, and people are like, what? Like, aren't you like Yue Han? I'm like, no. Awesome, brother. Well, thank you for joining us on NG Ingwen, and we will talk to you real soon. Hopefully see you at your cafe.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I do honestly hope that I'll be able to invite you back to the Moshi Cafe, and then we have part 2 of this discussion over there.
Nice. Awesome. I'd be honored. Awesome. All right, Lucas, we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you very much.
下半段这边开始呢，这样用到这个片语 come into play， 它带有开始起作用的意涵在。像刚才不是问来宾说 When did Chinese come into play？ 就是在表达当初中文是什么时候开始加入它的多国语言脑，好，什么时候开始中文也变成是它的语言能力之一呢？原来啊，因为身在瑞典，所以欧洲语系的外语很早就是学校的课程之一，像是英文啦、西班牙文、德文，它都是很早就有接触了。只是那时候因为还小，所以不懂到底为什么明明好好的讲瑞典话就可以，大家都听得懂，老师偏偏要我们讲英文、西班牙文。一直到上大学，国际观慢慢出现了，才发现英文的重要。虽然说高中时期曾经因为想要看英文电影，多少就是有一些动力想要学英文，因为那时候没有字幕嘛，那你想要看懂就要把英文学好。加上后来又有机会到美国阿拉斯加留学，让他真正呢有机会开始把英文运用到生活中。但是后来来到台湾之后呢，原本的那种讨厌学外语的内心又出现了，完全就是压根不想学中文，可是又不能不学，不能不把他的中文成绩维持在一定水准。因为来台湾的学费是他们政府出的，好，想要待在台湾呢，那他的中文成绩就不能太差，所以才在这种逼不得已的情况下学了中文。刚才这里有一个很简单但是很道地的说法，我们来听一下。aha moment 意思是我们讲的这个茅塞顿开。好，像刚才不是提到来宾他后来发觉英文的重要吗？那这样用的就是这个 aha moment 来形容当时 Lukas 的那种好，那种对于学外语的一个心理的顿悟。如果用比较文绉一点的说法来讲的话，可以用 epiphany 这个字，它也一样是在表达对于某件事情的顿悟，只是 aha moment 它比较口语一点，比较偏向我们讲的那种对耶，原来如此这样子。那在节目最后 Lukas 提到说其实工作并不用一定只能是一般我们常见的什么坐办公室啦，好，或是人家所谓的职业，它也可以就单纯是我们的兴趣像他当时只是在 YouTube 上面弄影片弄好玩的而已。刚开始1-2年也没有因为有做影片而有收入，谁知道后来越做越好，还有钱赚，甚至像现在这样子变成他的工作。好，所以行行出状元，好，对不对？不用被既定的框架框住，用越宽阔的心态看事情呢，就越可能给我们带来意想不到的结果哦。好啦，希望大家都有从这一次的内容学到一些东西。如果今天是第一次认识 Lukas 的听众朋友，可以找个时间去看看他的影片哦。
Bye everyone. Peace. All right, well that is our NG Ingwen show for today. We hope everyone enjoyed listening to that. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now Spotify. You can search NG Ingwen, or you can search on IG, NG English ICRT. And don't forget to tune in every Wednesday morning from 6:30 to 7, and Wednesday night from 9 to 9:30. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
好啦，今天的节目就到这边告一段落啦，感谢各位的收听，别忘了订阅我们的 Spotify 还有 YouTube 频道哦。那喜欢我们节目的话，也要记得到 Instagram 到 IG 上追踪我们哦。如果各位有什么其他问题是想要问来宾的，也请欢迎在底下留言告诉我们，我们一定会想办法帮你问到手。好啦，那就下周在空中相会咯，拜拜。